I gotta go with Gagan, though. She had you back, man, for, like, forever.
2 games, man. You can't just, like, deny Witcher 1 and Witcher 2.
I mean, she also definitely manipulated your memory loss to, like, get with you. Despite the fact that Yennefer was, like, her best friend.
Listen, if it's like doing Rush Hour 3 and Jackie Chan just decided, you know what? I'll go with Chris Rock instead. That's just wrong. Welcome to episode 57 of the Endless Backlog Podcast. I am your host, Gagan Singh. Hope all is well where you are. Joining me today for this round of podcasting is William Berger.
Yo, what's up?
Not much, dude. I'm tired, though.
I feel ya.
I don't know why. Like, I came home today, I was just like, fuck. I don't want to do shit. I want to work. I need to retire. Also joining us is Aljoseph Klujic.
Hello. What's up?
I know. That's all you got. You haven't been on in podcast form for a while, so you know.
I haven't. I think I've been like a few weeks ago. I remember.
Actually, you've already done more podcasts this year than you did last year.
Well, wow, really?
Yeah, you have to. I don't
know if that's good or sad. So I'm just pretending it's good.
I'd say it's good. You usually bring an entertaining perspective. Towers likes you, so
you say that every time. I'm glad that he likes me.
It is.
He does like you. He talked about, like, you were the wish fulfillment part of the E3 podcast because you were back. You were the Sony press conference of
Right. I was on that
week.
Yeah, I remember now. That's cool.
That's true. That is something you wrote. And then, fuck, man, I forgot your last name. Joining us here is Matthew.
It's Matt Crandall. Thank you,
Crandall,
Gagan.
thank you. Well, no, because your thing on Skype is Cajun. It's no longer Matthew, so...
I only remember his last name because of the character in Recess, Randall, and I just linked the two together.
That's an interesting way to do that, Joseph, but I guess that works.
I mean, I'm surprised it doesn't remind you of Simpsons when he thought Krabappel's name was Crabapple.
Crandall. Krabappel, I was calling her Crandall.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Freaking Homer Simpson. How's it going, Matthew?
It's going alright.
Yeah. You're off, you're on break, right? Because, like, from school and shit?
You know, I graduated.
Oh, you graduated. I'm sorry. Congratulations.
Yeah, I graduated, a while ago, Gagan. Jeez.
My bad. You also haven't been on since...
I haven't done one since last year, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe, yeah. I think the last one you did was when I was shitting on Tomb Raider. Maybe?
No, I think the last one I did was the one with Philip and Will about World of Warcraft and stuff.
Oh, yeah! The week
like forever ago.
The week I had surgery.
Yeah,
also, I was totally wrong, and World of Draenor is a terrible expansion. I regret everything I said in that podcast.
Really?
This expansion's garbage. It starts off really good, then becomes terrible in a hurry.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't put it on our top 10. One of us had to be the voice of reason against MMOs. Anyway, this will be a good old-fashioned, just regular, what have we been playing? Because there's no one to shame this week, which I think is good, you know, because we had a sad-ass podcast last time, so
yeah,
should be uplifting, I guess, on some level. Some homework, I guess. I think I can finally move on. I think I've done my service for bashing Bungie the last year and Destiny, you know? So, people who like Destiny and still tolerate this podcast, first of all, you're fucking saints. So, you have my utmost respect. And second of all, we're good, alright? You guys can carry on. I don't need to bash that game anymore. I think I got my point across for the last 300 plus days. The only shitty thing that happened is that Batman has a patch for its patch that's going to get in September to fix the game on PC, which...
And then it might actually come back out on PC.
Yeah, you might actually be able to purchase it again on PC. Though I would recommend to make sure you buy from someone other than Steam, so you know your money is going to that website and not Warner Brothers. Just my personal recommendation, because I don't think Warner Brothers deserves money for the PC port.
You could do that, or you could just not play it at all, because it's not that good of a game.
It's a good game, though.
It's not like it's a game, it's fine.
It's a good half a game.
You think the second half sucks?
As long as you aren't in the Batmobile.
The
I think he was on the
Batmobile shit,
Batmobile.
and then the Cobra tanks just ruined that game for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that's an interesting dichotomy for me because on one hand, I really do get annoyed when sequels just do more of the same. Because after a while, I'm just like, okay, I get it. Why did you make another one, right? And in the case of the Arkham games, I felt that the way Arkham City ends, it's like, doesn't actually leave open a sequel. There was a sense of finality to that plot. Especially because it pairs nicely with Arkham Asylum. Because both games are Joker stories, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, in theory, Arkham Knight didn't even exist. But they did make it. And instead of just being more Batman, they did try to add in new wrinkles, right? Like, the annoying thing about the Batmobile is, like, it controls the way you'd want it to control. It feels nice and snug. Technically, it works how you would want car combat to work on some level. You know, to Rocksteady's credit, their bad jobs technically end up being polished ideas. It's just that they completely bet the farm on an idea that's not fun or interesting or shit I would want to do in a Batman game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Like, I would want to give them effort points, except I guess at the end of the day, execution does still matter. So it's like, fuck your effort. Maybe you should have just made the most Batman-ass Batman game again. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Can't hate too much. I still want to finish it, though. I think it's a good game. And I say I think it's a good game, but I really do stop playing that game because of the Batmobile. Really does effectively make me go, like, why did
Really, the only thing that just soured me on it was the Cobra tank encounters, man. Where you have to use stealth in the tank to... It was so bad. Everything else was fine.
No.
But it was still not as good as Arkham Asylum because Arkham Asylum is so good.
You're still of the opinion Asylum's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They peaked on their first album, kind of like Nas.
Well, Nas's first album was Illmatic?
Yeah. They peaked like Nas, Illmatic, and it was all downhill.
I thought his first was written.
No, first was Illmatic, 94.
Illmatic's amazing. To be fair, Jay-Z peaked at his first album.
Well...
Reasonable Doubt is absolutely his best album.
Sure, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, like, technically a lot of people would argue that,
Kanye West did also. He peaked with his first album.
Wait, Late Registration, yeah.
No, College Dropout.
No, that came after Late Registration.
No,
Anyway,
it didn't.
No, I'm serious. Go Google it.
You Google it.
No, I'm serious. Late Registration came first. I'm not even saying this because, fuck it, anyway. I was gonna say, it's like, I think Michael Jackson's first album, what's the one before Thriller? Anyway, the point is, I think there's a good argument people would make that's his best album. So it's like, it's not crazy that someone's first album is their best album.
Not at all. That's usually how it is. Yeah, you have the most to say on your first go.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, like, you're gonna bet the farm on that album.
It's like that for books, too. Yeah. Some authors have their best first novel.
And the other thing is, like, if you've been playing in, like, local areas for a while, you know those songs really well. So you've, like, worked out all the kinks in those songs, because you've been doing it for years.
Yeah. And sometimes, I don't know, I guess, like, when they become more polished performers, they lose some of their, like... In an effort to be perfect, they sort of, like, overdo it. And, like, lose that little edge that they had. I guess, right. I don't know.
Yeah, like, a lot of these, like, developers and even, like, film studios, they think, like, more is, like, good.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, really, like, less is more.
Yeah.
Like, Arkham Asylum and stuff.
It really just comes down to just, you know, being more creative is automatically more interesting than... Like, you improved... Like, mechanically, Arkham Knight is probably better than Arkham Asylum. And it is, probably. Cause
I mean, yeah, the combat,
there's aspects of Arkham Asylum's combat. When I went back to it, I was like, this is it wasn't bad. It's still a very good game. But it's just
that pacing, though.
The pacing's good. I think the pacing is remembered more fondly than it should, though, during a certain stretch. But, like, overall, I agree. It's paced very well. It does Metroid in a 3D environment really well. Like, better than freaking Metroid Prime 3, if I had to be honest.
So, Arkham Asylum is actually Pootie Tang?
I'm not against this. But, actually, no, this is actually I think Tara's brought this up. It's like, in theory, the chances are for the Rocksteady trilogy, I'm gonna replace Arkham Knight with Pootie Tang. Like, it's because it's the Metroid Prime 3 of the franchise. You know, not necessarily a bad game, it's a step down, which, whatever. I don't know. I just, to bounce off this idea, funny enough, and goes into our endless pimpage of GameUnder.net. Towers ended up talking about games he would give 10s, right? Because he's been playing a lot of Bayonetta 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his scale, right? And I would argue that if you think I can be high maintenance with the way I grade games, Towers makes me look pleasant in comparison sometimes. And his criteria is simply put, it's not so much that the game is flawless, because that's a stupid scale, right?
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. The idea is he needs to be able to play the game and feel like they couldn't have done this thing that he's not liking better. Like, there's a valid reason for why that thing is there. For instance, the loading times in Metroid Prime, that's one of his 10s. One of 2, actually. Not an issue to him because it's a technical limitation of the GameCube. It just simply wasn't strong enough to do that world as seamless as humanly possible, right?
Right.
And he finds the first boss fight in that game boring, but, like, realistically, the way that first boss fight designed makes sense in the context of those mechanics and it being the first boss fight of the game. It being the first boss fight in a tutorial level, no less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, by its very nature, it's not going to be all that interesting. It's a tutorial level, more or less. Effectively. Which is valid. His other one was weird, because it was so out of left field, and El Joso might need to cover his ears, because El Joso will hate. Ico.
Yeah?
I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Yeah, but Ico was his 10, and I was just like, well, that's an interesting pick. Because the common complaint with that game is usually combat-centric, and I agree with his argument that because it's a child, and the whole game is about exploration and puzzles, the way the combat works actually makes perfect sense, because it's not about actually making you feel powerful. Like, the combat is supposed to be something you don't necessarily want to do, and that's why the game doesn't make you do it all that often. Right?
Right.
So in the grand scheme of things, a lot of what he says, like, I personally would not land at a 10, because I think I judge it more primarily on, did I like it enough to actually give it this arbitrary status, right? Like, that's how I do it. But it was interesting to listen to, because he almost gave it to Bayonetta 2. He said that Chapter 8 is the only chapter of that game that needs to be done better, which I didn't remember which Chapter 8 was, but I had a different complaint with that game than him. For instance, I don't like the flying shooty levels, because I don't care how much Platinum really likes Space Harrier. Maybe they shouldn't make I think they're gonna do fine with Star Fox, because the game's actually built to be a shooter. But I always find it when they do it in their beat-em-ups, it's like this really tacked-on sequence that I want to do. Which is whatever. So, now that I've hijacked this podcast with BS long enough, you're welcome, Tom Towers. It's a good thing that I basically badgered you until you played the Bayonetta games. Fuck off and play the Wonderful 101 already. Stop playing whatever the fuck. And we watched Evo this week, William.
Yes, we did. Evo was hype.
Evo was hype. So, really, let's just skip the part. A lot of what I only got to see at Evo was the Street Fighter tournaments. I watched some of the highlights of the other games. Killer Instinct's improving year to year. Like, it's not as boring as it was last year, in my opinion.
No.
Yeah. I thought Rico Suave had a comfortable victory this year, but it wasn't like the blowout he had last year, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I might be wrong. He did win last year, right?
I think he did. It was either him or Justin Wong. I'm pretty sure Rico Suave.
It wasn't Justin Wong.
Yeah, okay, then it was Suave.
Yeah. And, Mortal Kombat, I wasn't too enamored watching that. Guilty Gear was fun. It also had the funniest fucking moment of Evo.
Yeah, it did.
So apparently the reigning champ of Guilty Gear, right, was about to be upset by this dude, right? And he was completely kicking and like just stole the round. He got so excited, jumped out of his chair, thinking he won the set. Didn't realize there was one more round to go. So by the time he made it back to his chair, he was already like, too much of a death. Yeah. It's like if you give Tom Brady a 31-point lead, he's probably going to beat you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't spot him points, so that was foolish, unfortunately. Luckily Evo has a loser's bracket, I guess, that allows people to bounce back from shitty mistakes. Cause man, that would have been a really shitty reason to not go further in the finals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
Other than that, Guilty Gear, great finals. Marvel was slightly disappointing this year, in my opinion. Did you watch any of Marvel?
Yeah, I did. It was weird because a lot of the people who like are normally the top Marvel players didn't make it.
Yeah. Which
they lost earlier in the tournament.
Which like you would think would be like exciting because it's like, all right, a new group of people is stepping up. Like there's upsets. Upsets are surprising and entertaining. And a lot of the time in Evo, you don't get like major upsets, but we were getting major upsets during Marvel, right?
Yeah.
And then just the finals were just really not really all that close.
No, they were really one-sided. And it was just like, especially grand finals, was just basically like watching the guy who was in winners basically just run over the other guy. It was just like, okay.
Yeah. Smash Tournament. I like playing these games, and I respect the competitive side of these games, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe they need to mess with the format, because 8-minute 4-stock matches feels too long with these games.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to have to go, especially because between the two of them, the Smash games had the biggest competitor turnout. I think it was about 3,800 people.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if the turnout just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, which it is likely to do. They either need to pick one, and they can't run both, because it's not fair to all the other series that just get like one game, you know?
Yeah.
Because Street Fighter 4 is not going to be at Evo next year, and it's the most registered game at the tournament.
Is 5 Street Fighter, is that why, or?
It's because... Yeah,
Capcom's going to make sure that Street Fighter 5 is at...
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Like, let's not get carried. Like, the annoying thing about Evo sometimes isn't so much that, which I don't necessarily think is annoying. It's just that some of it does come down to which publishers are willing to spend money. But like like people look at it like, oh, it's a marketing scheme. It's like, well, sort of, but it also comes down to like prize pool. Like, one game is going to be worth more. Like, the Halo community hates Halo 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they still had Halo 4 tournaments because Halo 4 tournaments were more fucking money than the round of Halo 3 tournaments that were going around at that time. Because why the fuck would Microsoft not want to pimp out their new game? You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, it's in their, you know, at the end of the day, they still have sort of a job as competitive players, you know, which,
you
know, more power to them. So Street Fighter V will be the headliner next year, and that's going to be a tough follow act, because we've been spoiled with Street Fighter 4 tournaments the last couple of years.
Yeah, especially, I mean, it's almost crazy to think, but Street Fighter 4 has been at major tournaments and at Evo for 7 years.
And it's been the main event. Like, the main event.
For everything. Yeah.
And it's been down-to-the-wire matches since year one. Like, no blowouts. Maybe not no blowouts, but, like, just all these exciting matches over the years. And then just this past year was this, like, really, like, barn burner of a fucking set of tournaments. So, it was awesome. Get the gist of it out of the way. There's a big, well-known, like, player named Daigo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he played this, kid, Gamerbee. So, this is, like, one of the big storylines of EVO was Gamerbee. And, their match came down
to the last
set, the last round, and involved the video game equivalent of a choke, where Daigo, speaking of a choke, Jesus, where Daigo basically whiffed the combo, and I mean, anyone that was watching that match was like, if he nails it, it's over, he's going forward, and Gamerbee out. So like, this is how close it was. But he missed, and then Gamerbee capitalized, and the rest was almost history from that point, because Daigo finished 9th, and then like the top 8, which is like the actual finals round of tournaments, matches, right? Had Gamerbee make a run through losers bracket. So how EVO works is there's a winners bracket and a losers bracket, where there's the first set of people that just keep winning throughout the pools and just haven't lost. And then when they get to that final stretch, it's like when they lose, they're out. Like, it is what it is. If you lose in pools or I think one of the other rounds or something, you enter in the losers bracket, which is another part of the tournament that allows you to sort of run it back all the way to the finals, right?
Right. Because you're allowed to lose once. Everybody's allowed to lose once.
Even winners bracket? Oh, yeah. Right. Because loser has to has to bring it back. That makes sense. Okay, you're right. They are allowed to lose once. That makes sense.
Yeah. So even if you enter top 8 and winners and you lose, you still get to go through losers bracket.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. That's awesome. And I guess the idea behind it is to offset the thing that happens with tournaments is sometimes you can make one side of the bracket loaded with all the best players, and then there could be an easy bracket, and if the easy bracket plays the loaded bracket when it counts, you get things like the Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks, which is one team is clearly better than the other, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the other reason that they do it is to compensate for the fact that most of the tournament is 2 out of 3, and it's really easy to steamroll somebody 2 out of 3 before they get a chance to figure out what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So it kind of upsets for the, hey, you had a bad match against this guy because maybe you've never seen this character before, but you can still go really far in the tournament.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't like that reasoning because I think part of the appeal should be you can throw some curveball at people and make it. You know what I mean? You should be prepared on some level about anything because that's sports on some level. Anyway.
Right, but
so GamerB, basically the whole story is GamerB was in losers brackets fairly fucking early and just had one hype match after another, down to the wire shit, using a variety of characters. The crowd was so into this guy. He was basically trending on Twitter like it was going out of style. Makes it to the final freaking round of the finals. Everyone says oh, it's gonna be so difficult for this guy to beat Momochi 2 sets before Momochi gets 1, which is the guy he played in the finals.
Yes.
And he ran it back, first of all. He won the first set, which was already alright, sweet, he's done it. And then makes it all the way to the final round. Admittedly, he had help from another funny moment at EVO where the Razer arcade stick died on stage. Fuck you, Razer products.
Yeah. So, which paused the game. So at EVO,
yeah.
If you have a match that gets paused because of a controller disconnect or if someone accidentally hit pause, they lose that round of the match.
Yeah.
So they're in the last set. Momochi wins the first one. His controller disconnects, so he loses the next round. So then it's the last round is basically going to decide the tournament.
Yeah. And, whatever. The story is Momochi eventually wins, but I wanted to say the GamerB stuff because, he got a thunderous applause for second place because the crowd was so into him putting on a great show. And I think that's cool because he took it all in great spirit because his fiance was crying, got hugged by Infiltration or whatever, which I still don't like that esport people go by gamer tags. They should go by their actual name, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
And what else was I trying to get at? But no, the whole crowd's going for him after he just had this really rough loss. And he kept a, strong face for everyone, you know what I mean? So that's respect.
Right.
Evil was awesome.
He did really well. He beat a lot of the people that had beaten him in previous tournaments, especially beating Daigo was a huge thing for him, because Daigo just routinely destroys him at tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was an incredible top 8, is the moral of that story.
Yeah. Yeah. There's Street Fighter 5's got some tough shoes because, like I said, Street Fighter 4 tournaments have been amazing.
Yep. And maybe they shouldn't have 2 Smash games at EVO. Maybe they should just have 1. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's at the same time, you gotta look at it from EVO's perspective. It's drawing money. What do you want us to do? You know what I mean? We all want to say, hey, Virtual Fighter 5 and King of Fighters 13 should be up there because they're cool fighting games, and they go, but they don't draw money and they don't draw enough people. You know
right,
what I mean?
but at some point the tournament is either going to have to
expand,
get another day,
mm-hmm.
or cut one of the Smash games because they can't do that next year.
Yeah,
with they're just not going to have the time. Street Fighter V was 15 hours on the first day to get from 2,200 people to top 8.
Yeah,
and the same thing for Smash the next day, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true. Whatever, though. I'm excited for the next one, I guess. It's gonna be weird to see Street Fighter 5, which Aljosa's trying to get the beta for, but isn't getting the beta, so...
Yeah, shut up.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be weird not seeing, Street Fighter 4 being the headliner, because it's headlined for so long.
Yeah. Whatever. No pressure, Capcom, or anything.
For real.
Yeah. Speaking of Capcom, Eljosa, let's get into the games we've been playing.
Let's do it. Yeah, I've been playing Resident Evil. Yeah,
you're
Resident
playing
Evil.
The remake.
Yeah, the remake on PS4.
The other potential masterpiece by Shinji Mikami, according to some people, or his true best game, according to some people.
Yeah, well, we don't care about what they say.
Yeah, we don't care about what they say because it's Resident Evil 4. I agree. However, Resident Evil Remake's amazing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. I generally don't really play survival horror type games, but I'm having fun in this game. And I'm not having fun, but like I'm entertained by it, and it's a great atmosphere. I like the mansion.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about the game is how you have to save with the item,
The ink ribbon?
And I don't like that.
Why not?
Because I just have like a fucking habit of in games, like whenever I pass by a save spot, I'll save out of habit.
Yeah.
And then in this game, you can't really do that, right?
Do that, but I think that's the point, though.
I mean, I guess the point, but I don't give a shit. It's still lame.
I don't think it's lame, though.
Like, everything has a point in the game. And it was put there.
That's what makes it fantastic. That
doesn't mean it's good.
I absolutely would think how the save system's done is good, though. I think because most of the game design is built around you going back and forth through that mansion and like managing your items.
I always save with this back and forth whenever you pass by.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to save. Like you could actually like run the gambit of you gotta do these things and then like not save. Plus, that game gives you so many ink ribbons. I think you're overreacting. Like it's more a psychological thing what that game does than it is like.
It is, it's psychological, sure.
Yeah, like there's this myth that Resident Evil doesn't actually give you. Resident Evil, you're so scarce on supply. No, you get plenty of supply. Like
you get ink ribbons out the ass.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. I have like 3 now. When the last I checked,
halfway through the game. I mean, you're not halfway, Mark. But like halfway through the game, you can like start. Like it's true, you don't have enough matches for the Crimson Heads if you just shoot everyone and don't like burn them, right?
Yeah, that's what I messed up with.
Like, that's an actual true thing about that game because, you know, and it's a great aspect of the game, but like the actual bullets and the ink ribbon, you actually do get enough supplies. It's just
bullets, the bullets I have like 50 in my stock, even more.
Yeah. I don't know, I thought that game had great things like the save room beat having a storage for your stuff.
Yeah, like
it sells a space in a game that I don't think most games do very well. Like, it does feel like you're in this mansion, like, with all these trapdoors and shit, and you have, like, this one safe room where you're, like, managing all your supplies and shit.
You know what that reminded me of,
What?
Reminds me of the torches and shit in Dark Souls,
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're in this entirely, like, dangerous area, then you have this one, like, safe zone. Mm-hmm. So whenever you get there, it's always like, oh, yeah, that feels so good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the franchise has always been really good. Mikami in general has always been really good with save rooms, I guess.
Yeah.
Just because,
like, I guess it was part of the pacing thing. In Resident Evil 4, it was like that.
Well, like, you would go from, like, the super... Yeah, you would find, like, the super tense, like, white-knuckle action game where you're, like, you know, basically, like, it's one thrilling sequence after another, but then, like, you get to a save room and the music's calming and relaxing.
I love that music,
Yeah. You know, I think in Evil Within, he does it too, but then, like, he also fucks with you too much with the save room, maybe? Which, I guess, is the point of that game, but at the same time, it sort of loses it sort of loses the, like, thing that really works about the save room in Resident Evil and Resident Evil 4, you know, that you do feel actually safe. Which,
I like that.
Yeah.
The game's great.
How are the controls going for you?
Controls are fine. I'm playing with the second one for the HD version. It's like basically you just point where you want to go, like in Resident Evil 4.
No.
You don't have to like rotate and then.
Are you hitting like X to shoot or some shit?
No. You press R1 and then R2 or whatever the fuck to shoot.
You and Ben gave me so much shit for turning the Resident Evil 4 HD controls to left trigger and right trigger.
I didn't give you shit for that. I don't care.
Yes, you did.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was Ben.
Yeah, I was like, I am not pressing the A button on the 360 to shoot things, Capcom. You are out of your mind. You know? Like, technically, the game feel didn't change, but you had a controller with actual triggers this time and not the GameCube weirdness. GameCube.
But the A button was so good on the GameCube.
Yeah, whatever.
How many people consider the best controller?
How's the puzzle solving going for you?
There are no puzzles so far. The closest thing to a puzzle is you have to examine the item and open it or whatever.
True. Like, calling what Resident Evil does as puzzles is different. It's more like,
Silent Hill has puzzles, actual fucking hard-ass riddles and shit.
Silent Hill has annoying
the fucking
piano...
Shakespeare one, oh my god.
I remember the piano puzzle just being complete. Or the bird one.
I remember the one we had to know Shakespeare to do one of them.
Yeah, that was annoying. I think I doubled up through that one.
Silent Hill was cool because you, like, change difficulty setting to, like, the riddles and stuff. If you don't want to deal with that crap, you just put it onto easy and just blaze through it.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Yeah, there aren't really any puzzles so far that I've encountered.
I still stand by that until Resident Evil 4, Silent Hill was that, like... And I'm a Capcom fanboy, if anything, but Silent Hill was the vastly superior horror franchise.
Absolutely. Konami was just better than Capcom in general. That's for another day.
That is ridiculous in every sense of the word.
That's for another day.
So it's true, but
because Mega Man was way better than Castlevania.
Oh, you're on crack. No way.
Way better. Mega Man X is amazing. Super Castlevania 4 is like, yeah, this is kind of good, I guess. Fucking Konami. Capcom shooters were better than Gradius. No, I'm not gonna get anything on that one. All right.
No, I'm not falling for your shenanigans.
I'm not gonna fall for the trap.
How about that rich video game story of Resident Evil Remake?
I like it. It was actually kind of spooky. I mean, it's cool. I'm interested in the history of the castle and all those all those like text things you come by and you read. I read all of them.
Yeah. For all of Resident Evil 4's greatness, and we sing its. We sing praise for that game almost every time we can bring it up. But there is a good argument to be made that Resident Evil 4 does actually kill the greater potential of what Resident Evil could have been as a horror game. Because what Remake was Shinji Mikami going back to that first game and taking out the bullshit Capcom forced upon him when they said, oh, this needs a story and an acting cast and all this other shit. He's like, I don't want any of it. And it's like this completely ridiculous, silly thing, which I call Capcom's bullshit, but let me explain myself when I say I love the fact that the original Resident Evil has all that stupid shit in the game, because it's awesome in a very stupid sort of way. But Resident Evil was like, what if he could do it and take it a little bit more seriously? And it legitimately earns it with the remake, because it does feel creepy. It does feel a little bit more restrained for Capcom, which, usually they're not exactly what I would call subtle.
Yeah, it's definitely not an adjective I would use to describe Capcom.
Yeah, Capcom's subtle when it comes to game design ideas, but they are not subtle when it comes to, like, anything that has to do with narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But Resident Evil Remake shows a lot of restraint, even if there's... We go to the shark yet? No, you're not.
No, not yet, no.
Yeah, there's a giant fucking...
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm at the part now where you have to, like, get by a plant with a lot of tentacles and crap that won't let you go further into a room. And then some other rooms I didn't open yet, so a lot of stuff to do.
The golden standard for remakes. The golden standard for remaking, like, just about anything, if I'm being quite honest. Because I can't think of a movie remake I'm, like, super enamored with.
Sure, there are some. I just can't think of anything. The Thing, if you consider that.
The
Thing?
The Thing is
great.
The Thing is great.
But, yeah, I mean, it's cool because it's like its own thing, basically.
True Grit.
True Grit, yeah.
That was at least better than the original. In my opinion, I like it more than the original.
It is better than the original.
And I'm not
it is.
Yeah, I agree with that, more or less.
I don't
know anybody who doesn't agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not, like, super into Coen Brother movies. I think they're good. I think they'd... Barton Fink is one of their movies, right?
Yeah, that movie's awesome.
I like Barton Fink, but otherwise, I'm not super into I think their movies are good, but like I said, I'm not like, oh man. Like Scorsese, that's a beast.
Can't remember where I read the quote, but Mikami said something like 70% of Resident Evil Remake is new shit. Like, they changed the layers of the room or whatever and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, that's how you do a remake, right? Just make it, like, completely, like, new and different.
Yeah,
so,
like...
Instead of just making the same exact game just with, like, higher graphics.
Exactly. Like, with no disrespect intended towards remasters. Remasters are fine. There's remasters in film. The idea is this thing's great the way it is. let me just make it for, like, a newer, like, format to make it cleaner on modern displays and shit, right? Which I think is great, even in gaming. I just wish they would pick games that are actually old and look a little too ugly on modern displays. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. God of War 3 looks terrible. It needs to be on the PS4, Gagan.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Clearly those textures could be so much better.
And I get that somewhere out there Phil is going crazy going, those 720p games need to be 1080p. But
that's just Phil. He's in his own little world,
That's just true.
But,
Phil is not.
Well, at least Phil knows he's crazy sometimes. But speaking of which, we'll get into this later, but I was jokingly calling Metal Gear Solid cutting edge the other day. He's like, wow, you think that game really holds up? I'm like, yeah, it's definitely cutting my eyeballs with those fucking edges. Jesus Christ. You know, because that game's got jaggies on my TV. It's freaking funny. But anyway, back to what you were saying. Like, you're gonna go back and visit a game, actually mess with it, and in my opinion, the big one here is you improve it. Because, funny enough, the next game we're going to talk about, Metal Gear Solid has a remake. It's called Twin Snakes. And it adds in all the improved mechanics of Metal Gear Solid 2, except no one told Dennis Dyack in Silicon Knights that, hey, Metal Gear Solid 1 was built around these dated mechanics, so when you throw in things that make things easier for the player, guess what you did? You broke the balance of the game on some level. You know? Yep. Whereas, like, Resident Evil, like, they did adjust things about the mechanics, but then they changed aspects of the game and the pacing, so the balance was never destroyed. And while we're at it, I think Resident Evil Remake's one of the better examples of just, like, where the director has so much control over the experience, right? Like, everything about that game is scripted or meticulous, if you will, and it all has a purpose to it. Like, everything down to, like, what camera angles you're shown, because it's not so much about what you're seeing, it's about what you're not seeing that's making you unsettled and, like, creeping you the fuck out. And that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's a masterpiece. Not the masterpiece, but a masterpiece, at least. Are you gonna try to play Resident Evil 2? Have you ever played Resident Evil 2?
No, I don't really have access. Well, I do, but if they go for an HD version, yeah, I'll play it then, but...
I don't know. It's a Kamiya joint.
It is, but...
We are Kamiya's our boy.
It's true. I feel
He's
like if
alright.
we don't mention Kamiya in an Endless Backlog podcast, it's not really an Endless Backlog podcast.
He's alright. He's not you, Suzuki.
Sometimes you say these things.
Well, I mean, okay, hold on. I love Kamiya, but there's always a great argument to be made for Yu Suzuki. I like shitting on Virtual Cop and Shenmue because they're not good games. But, yeah.
Yu Suzuki's cool. I just don't think he's as good as Kamiya.
I would... Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I don't like Yu Suzuki's best games as much as Kamiya's games, but at the same time, Yu Suzuki is like this super, like, important figure in this medium. So that's really his, like, great argument to... Because for the longest time, he was Sega's Miyamoto. So.
But yeah, I'm more for bashing into Gaki. Let's do that. The Japanese won't
I don't
respect
want
it.
to! Not ready for this.
He's had more bad games than good games, yeah?
What?
How do you feel about that?
No. What were his bad games?
Look it up, yeah? Let's look.
He's done Devil's Third. That was his one bad game.
And Dead or Alive?
None of the Dead or Alives are bad games.
Dead or Alive Extreme 2.
Those beats...
Dragon Sword.
Okay, time on. The Dragon Sword game's actually a good DS game.
Ninja Gaiden 2, maybe? That game is bad. Come on.
How dare you!
I mean, it is bad. Let's be real.
You played that game on Master...
I know, and it's still pretty bad. I mean, let's be real. That game is fun as shit, but it's a terrible game.
That is the most bullshit statement you have ever said on this podcast.
You know, it's true. Ben will corroborate these claims, yeah.
Ben is an asshole who returned that game because he's a bitch.
I love that game to death, but let's be real, it is pretty bad, yeah.
It's not a bad game. That's ridiculous. It's disappointing. I would agree there. But it's not a bad game.
It's the Bad Boys 2 of gaming, yo. Come on,
Bad Boys 2 is fantastic. How dare you? We're done. We're moving on. Wow.
It's the Bad Boys 2 of gaming.
Bad Boys 2 is awesome because
look in your heart, you know it to be true.
Mario Kart is trash.
I'm okay with that. I've got over your hate for that.
Anyway, so I've been replaying Metal Gear Solid. because I figured... Because I said I would play the Witcher games before the Witcher 3 comes out. I didn't. I said I would play the Arkham games that Rocksteady made before Arkham Knight comes out. Which I did, but after the game came out. So technically I didn't. And now I'm telling myself I'm going to do the Metal Gear Solid games, but specifically 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because not playing Metal Gear 1 and 2. And
why would you play 4? You could just, like, not hate yourself. You could really just play 1 and 3 and just be done with it.
I mean, you don't get to have the awesome old man fight on top of the submarine.
I know, the submarine fight. The annoying thing about Metal Gear...
really like that boss fight.
The annoying thing about Metal Gear Solid 4 is... You can always remember the shitty parts, but then you remember the really cool parts of that game, like when you get to fucking pilot Metal Gear Rex and fight Ray.
Don't get me wrong, there's really, like, that fight's really awesome, but, like, I just think it's kind of sad.
That game is a one and done. That game is, like, the one and done. It's like, it's not a bad game. I would stand by that it's a good game. But it is disappointing, and it is a game I never want to go back to half the time, because I'm just like, nope. So, going back to Metal Gear Solid, some qualifiers here. I think Solid Snake is way the fuck better than Big Boss. The myth that Big Boss is a better character is just that, a myth. Because Solid Snake has an actual personality in Metal Gear Solid 1, which is intentional. Like, in Snake Eater, like, Big Boss is just supposed to be like this cool, calm, collected, like, silent badass, only for the game to subvert that at the end and point out that he's kind of a bitch in comparison to the boss. And that the player is a bit of a tool, which, because Kojima likes doing that type of stuff, right? But Snake is more or less, you know, like, James Bond-esque with the way he's hitting on all the chicks that he's got to talk to and questioning everything. And I think, the translation of the original Metal Gear Solid is actually better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, no, it is very good.
Because the dialogue actually isn't... I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's not instantly stupid the way Metal Gear Solid 4 is stupid. Maybe Metal Gear Solid 4 just had, like, god-awful translation.
Well, apparently the story goes that Kojima fired the translator dude that he worked with, an editor, after Metal Gear Solid 1. So that's why 2 and 3 and 4 are kind of like wonky shits. That's the story I've heard. It might not be true.
If that's a true story, then that explains a lot of reasons why I've always liked Metal Gear Solid 1's story the best, because I came back to this game and I still really like aspects of I think the plot I care more about in general, just like it's so stupid, but I think there's just like a level of clarity to it that, like, the clarity I like in Metal Gear Solid 3. It's a clear, very specific, you know, the Metal Gear Solid fan base will say, oh, it's a simplistic plot, which, like, fuck you, the simplistic plot happens to be the better one in this case, because the messy one is just that, messy. And I like the Foxhound bosses. I don't like the boss fights all that much in Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, I think Fat Man's funny, but I don't like the fight. I don't care for the vamp fights. And the Hind D fight in Metal Gear Solid 1 is fun. The part where you fight the Harrier in Metal Gear Solid 2, not fun.
Not fun.
Yeah. And not because it's, like, hard or something, because you know Phil's watching this, and he's gonna, listening to this, sorry, and he's gonna go, you can do that blindfolded, or whatever Phil's gonna say, because Metal Gear, it's like, no, it has nothing to do with any of those sequences being hard. I just think they're lame. I like the characters that are of Foxhound. I like Sniper Wolf, she's awesome. Falcon Raven's cool in a total bullshit, I don't know what he's saying way. Ocelot's the man, so Gray Fox is cool, maybe not a good fight, I guess, I don't know. Whatever.
The bosses in the first one are very memorable.
I will say this, though. Metal Gear Solid became more of a stealth franchise, in at least Metal Gear Solid specifically, not Metal Gear. Because Metal Gear 1 and 2 are stealth games. Because 1, even though it does say tactical espionage action on the boxes, so, like, they are upfront about it, there's a lot of just straight you're told to shoot stuff sequences.
Right? Like, this is a stealth game. I need you to take down this helicopter with a rocket launcher.
I need you to, which, like, whatever, this boss fight has always been you shoot things with rockets, but at the same time, like, there was the part, like, right after you meet Meryl is you're in this room and you're just shooting dudes coming at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then there's, like, the part where you fight a tank, and then there's the part after the Hind where you gotta run up the tower and just shoot past dudes, because there's nothing sneaky about it, you know. Which is fine, like, that's part of the reason why the game's good. It's so varied, because in the grand scheme of things, like, what Metal Gear Solid 1 stealth was that very simplistic top-down stealth of Metal Gear 1 and 2. Like, there wasn't enough mechanics and, like, environments in that game to really, like, flex those mechanics and, like, test the player. Which I think they went on to do better in Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. Like, so, that's been awesome. I love the music still. Metal Gear Solid 1's music is great. That's about it, really. I don't know. Any questions on Metal Gear?
Metal Gear's a classic.
Yeah, it's a great game. I know as a kid I thought it was the best game of that year, right? Because I was never the Ocarina of Time child, even though I was the one with the N64 and my buddy had the PlayStation. But retroactively, if I had to pick a game from that year that I think is the best game of that year, I'd probably lean towards Thief.
Really?
That's a good choice.
I really like Thief 1 and 2. I'm not a Thief 3 guy, but 1 and 2 are awesome games.
Yep.
We don't talk about Thief 3.
And
there was no 4 either.
Yeah. Oh god, the remake.
Oh god, 4 is so bad.
Yeah. Whereas Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 absolutely stack up as great stealth games. I think Metal Gear Solid 1, like, I think Phil's always sort of said it as, like, the people that say Metal Gear Solid 1 is the best Metal Gear are kind of crazy on some level. I sort of get it now, going back to it, because, like, and I didn't want Phil to be right. I wanted Metal Gear Solid 1 to be the best. So I love that game. It's still so good. Like, the whole time I'm going, I'm like, this game does tutorials in the stupidest fucking way. Because it fucking sends a codec call every time you're about to, like, press the action button to use an elevator. Or press the action button to use a ladder. And half the time I'm going, like, Carnal, I'll figure it out. Relax, guy. But the whole time I'm going, I'm like, you know what? I still love this game. I don't give a fuck. Full integrity right now. Full integrity.
Gagan is not at all biased.
Not at all biased towards the original Metal Gear Solid. I love that game. That's so good.
This one is fantastic. It holds up really well. It holds up a lot better than Metal Gear Solid 2 does.
I don't know, man. Metal Gear Solid 2 plays great, in my opinion.
I just, like, you have to, like, hold, like, 8 buttons to, like, stand behind cover and shoot somebody.
So, at the same time, like, I'm going back to Metal Gear Solid 1, and I didn't know how to use analog for PS1 games on the PS3. Apparently you have to do it through, like, the menu thing when you press the middle PlayStation button on the controller. But I had to play Metal Gear Solid 1 with the D-pad. That was a learning experience right there. I was like, oh, right, we had to play this game with a D-pad. This is crazy. But, you know, again, that game is built, like, that game holds up better than a lot of Gen 5 3D games, because it's effectively a 2D game. Like, it's a top-down game. Realistically, like, everything 3D about it is just, like, the cutscenes. Which are still great, and the facial animations are fantastic, with them not having a mouth at all and just head bobbing as some dude is talking in the background. It's great. It's awesome. Oh, Metal Gear Solid. It's gonna be so bittersweet when Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out and it's the best game this year, and then we realize it's Kojima's last Metal Gear. Like, what a way to go out.
Part of that's true. Part of that's true.
Yeah, the best game part? Oh, you don't think it's gonna be bittersweet? You're happy that he's gonna move on?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, Gagan, let's definitely say it's the one that has microtransactions built into it from the get-go.
It's fine. Microtransactions are perfectly fine and a reasonable part
I'm going to go find a picture of the comic of the dog in the house that's burning down who says this is fine, and I'm going to send it to you every time you say that, Gagan.
Listen.
Kojima wouldn't do us like that.
Yeah,
Hideo Kojima. It's probably Konami, but, like, regardless.
I'm sure that game has a perfectly reasonable justification for a totally justified microtransactions in a $60 game, a drawback I would never hold against other $60 games. So,
That's true. I mean, it's not like, it's true. As long as any games come out this year that have, I don't know, was it like 15 packs of DLC for free? Just along with the game every week, maybe? That'd be a cool idea.
Yeah. I mean...
I actually do really want to play Metal Gear Solid 5 a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be fantastic.
I don't think it's going to be the best game this year, though, Gagan. Sorry.
It'll be the best playing.
Sure it will.
It'll be fantastic.
It will be really
good. Yeah.
You can say nothing to convince me that it will not be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm like, you know what? That's going to be the other thing to... Well, it's like we can take the break here, I guess, sort of. But like, this has been a really good year for. Like, it's easy to get negative that the AAA stuff this year has been a little predictable, right?
Right.
Because it's all sequels on some level. Like, the only new IP that's good is Bloodborne right now, and it's like, that's Demon Souls 4.
Yeah, like, it's another Souls game with a different name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bloodborne, a great action game.
It's a great action game, I agree. But at the same time, like, Bloodborne, terrific. Witcher 3, like, between how Chris has reacted to it, to how Phil's reacted to it, to Matt, to Nav on our Skype chat. Basically, you know, as Chris would put it, erect penis, 10 out of 10 of the video game.
Wow.
City Skylines is a cool game this year.
That game is incredible, yeah.
Yeah. Ori and the Blind Forest is fantastic.
I can
Yeah,
play
it
that.
is.
I need to get around to that.
I have only played an hour of that game, and that game has been fantastic.
That game's scratching that Super Metroid itch for you, Gagan?
Fuck. Well, it's more of a platformer, but it's using Metroid stuff in a reasonable and, like, in a not only a reasonable manner, but in a manner that fits what it's going for. Like, sometimes I feel like they just go Metroid because they loved Metroid, right? Like, that's cool, but then it conflicts with the mechanics on some level sometimes, right? Because I felt like Strider, for instance, should not have been a Metroid game. Everything about those mechanics, I want to be in, like, a level-by-level thing. Like classic Strider.
Yeah, that Strider game was okay.
Yeah, like, I don't think it was a bad game. I just felt like...
It wasn't a bad game, it was just
at
okay.
no point did I feel like, why is this Metroid? Right?
Yeah.
Like, Ori and the Blind Forest, the Metroid elements it does have, it kind of reminds me of the Shantae games. Like, on some level, they are Metroidvania-ish. But it's serving a purpose to the greater mechanical whole, if you will. That's awesome.
Right.
That's my train of thought on it. Monster Hunter 4 is allegedly fantastic. Ben's been gassing it up. And people do like to argue that it's terrific from a gameplay front. And, you know, we still got Metal Gear Solid 5 on the horizon. So a lot of, like, really long, well-made, well-playing games. Like, time-consuming games. Not even, like, short stuff. Like, one of the disappointments of this year, Arkham Knight, one of the knocks you're not going to make for it is that it's short. You know what I mean? So that's good. Anyway, the only other game I played since our last podcast was, I played Her Story, which I think would be more effective if you guys had played it a little bit. Cause it is cool. And then I played Gone Home, cause I wanted to remember why Her Story worked for me, and why Gone Home doesn't. Cause I do sort of like Gone Home. And a lot of that comes down to, like, the things like, that studio worked on, like, the people that made that game are the people that made Minerva's Den for Bioshock 2, right? And that DLC sort of has, like, this, like, holy status among some people that it's a great piece of content for that game, even though a lot of people hate on Bioshock 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
Yeah, whatever. So, a lot of the strengths from the Bioshock games, like environmental storytelling, shows up in Gone Home. Like, there's a great lived-in feel to that house, and just little things about the people in that house that the house, that the environment's able to tell. But my major beef with that entire game is more or less what I don't like about Dear Esther, except I fucking think Dear Esther is a piece of shit, and Gone Home I at least think is endearing, is that the plot they tell doesn't actually match the thing you're doing. Like, realistically, what you're playing, the story that's being told is the story that the main character will read when she finds the journal at the end, right?
Right.
But the whole thing I'm doing the whole time is I haven't found the journal. I'm just I'm solving these very short, brief puzzles to get further into the house and eventually make my way to that journal when she's going to read it. But I'm hearing passages from that journal. So it's like, this doesn't work to me in the grand scheme of things. I'm like, there's like, I don't want to call it like it's like a game design hole, if anything. You know what I mean? Because it's not like a plot hole to me. It's just, it doesn't fit. Like, these two things aren't connected the way they should be.
Right.
So it's ludonarrative dissonance, Gagan.
I don't like using that word.
I know. That's why I said it.
But I guess, yeah, I guess.
You know, there are times when it's okay to use that term.
Yeah, when, you know, but they're so douchey of a term.
Gagan just doesn't like big words.
He doesn't.
I like plenty of good big words, not that one. Like, irregardless is a great word.
Oh,
That's a
God,
classic
don't start.
word, yo.
Hate you all.
Classic status on me on the spectrum.
I could care less that you hate you regardless.
Yeah. Matthew, you like Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, of course I do.
You think it's a fantastic game.
Yes.
You think it's Rockstar's best game of the previous generation. I'm not wrong about assuming that, right?
That's actually tougher for me because I really like Max Payne a lot.
Max Payne 3? Okay.
And even 2. They worked on 2, but they mostly just did 3 by themselves. That's true.
Yeah, 2 is Remedy. 2 is a Remedy game.
They were also involved. They helped make it.
That's a Remedy game. Come on.
It's mostly a Remedy game.
I mean, come on.
Rockstar
Plus, I meant last gen.
Yeah,
I didn't say Rockstar's best game ever. I said Rockstar's best game last gen.
Oh, last gen then? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, last gen's Max Payne 3, Grand Theft Auto 4, and Grand Theft Auto 5. And it's like...
Yep.
Well, I mean, Rockstar Table Tennis was amazing, but let's not...
I mean, that's true, but that's not the same kind of game.
Yeah. So, Will's been playing Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
Red Dead Redemption.
What got you in the mood to replay that game?
I was just... My girlfriend and I started watching... Kira and I started watching a lot of Westerns.
Westerns are great. Which Westerns did you watch?
We watched... A Fistful of Dollars, Once Upon a Time in the West.
Great movie.
I think I'd have to watch that movie again because, like, I feel like you need to know what the twist is before you watch it to really get the whole thing. Because a lot of it doesn't make sense initially. You're just like, I don't know what this means. What are they talking about? And then you get to the end and it's like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I watched that.
I'll go on the record and say Once Upon a Time in the West is probably my favorite Western flick.
I watched Unforgiven recently.
It's a good movie.
Unforgiven's fantastic.
Unforgiven is so great.
Yeah,
that was an amazing
movie.
movie.
That's my favorite. I watched 3:10 to Yuma recently.
Eastwood
the remake or the original?
The remake.
Oh,
Joe, so you like OG more than the remake? 3:10 to Yuma?
Yeah, I generally like the older westerns, the 40s and 50s and so on.
Unforgiven is Eastwood directed.
Because they're more about people living in the West, not just about gun shooters and.
I think he won the Oscar for directing that, didn't he?
Yeah, he won Best Picture and Best Director for Unforgiven.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's awesome. Unforgiven's badass.
Unforgiven is really, really great.
But the crazy thing about that movie is he got the rights to that script 20 years before and just waited until he was old enough to play the character.
Yep.
It's crazy. Anyway, so we watched a bunch of Westerns and I was like, damn, I really should finish Red Dead Redemption because I've never finished it.
Oh, yeah, you should finish it.
I always
probably the best part of that game.
Yeah, I always get into Mexico and I get so bored.
Yep, no, Mexico is not the best. I would definitely agree.
I mean, there's really cool segments in Mexico, but I feel like the first act of that game is really strong, in terms of missions, and then, it builds up to a nice, climax. And then Mexico is just really, this doesn't have anything to do with anything. I've played all these missions, you know what I mean? So it's just...
I definitely
understand.
I don't
know, I felt like Mexico had the better missions in the grand scheme of things, because there was less, bitch work. Especially, the major shootouts in Mexico end up being really good. It's just that, there's no nice way to put it. Plot-wise, that entire thing is filler, and at times, just straight up badly written.
Yeah,
and he goes from wrecking rebel houses on fire to, hey, we're buddies now.
Yeah, it's just, the transitions between the mission segments don't make a lot of sense, and I really liked the characters in the first third of the game.
Yeah.
And
Bonnie's
the ones,
cool.
Yeah, and the Marshall's cool, and Nigel West Dickens is great.
Yep.
And the characters in Mexico are not as good, except for maybe Landon Ricketts, who's basically Sam Elliott.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Landon Ricketts is really great.
But he's it. Everybody else is just you're okay, I guess. If pressured, I would say that you were all right, but I don't know. So anyway, I started it over again, and I'm pretty far through the first section, and I'm doing a lot of the optional stuff, and I'm really liking it. And I don't know, that game plays a lot better than I remember it playing. It plays nicely. I think the movement's a little bit wonky, but the shooting still feels really good. And just the cover system and stuff like that feels really good. And the environments are really fun to explore, and the horses are really good. It's still really pretty.
Yeah.
Which is
that
what
game's a fantastic piece of presentation. Rockstar is... all three of their games on some level were always great at atmosphere. Grand Theft Auto 4 less so because the game shit, so ergo any positive qualities it has do not exist. But Red Dead Redemption, there's just great moments in that game where it's just you're just taking in the setting. That feels great.
Right.
That first time you're coming off that bend on Mexico as a sun setting, or sun's rising, sorry, as it's rising, is
and
like...
the music's playing,
Yeah, it's like, that's just a
really
great, well-executed... Like, it's cinematic in every sense of the word, and you're not doing anything, but it sells an immersive experience, right?
Yeah. And it's just...
unfortunate that game routinely breaks its immersion one too many times with just things that didn't need to be there, because Rockstar has a bad habit of making bloated games, in my opinion.
Yeah, they lose the plot about halfway through, usually.
It's not even just a plot, they just add gameplay things that don't need to be there. Like, in theory, they add, like, they add a level of personality, or, like, they give the world a lived-in feel, and it's like, yeah, except the wanted system thing going on, where you could sort of be a dick and an outlaw, or a goody two-shoe John Marston, just feels superfluous in the grand scheme of things.
Right? And, like, especially because being a dick feels so out of character for who John Marston is, or who he's trying to be.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. I feel like that's a petty knock against Red Dead Redemption. Like, if you're using that as the thing that's wrong with Red Dead Redemption, you're sort of missing the point. Like, at the end of the day, your brain is supposed to be able to separate the two, right? On some level.
Call it character development.
Shut up. Anyway.
I don't know. I just feel like the game does like a really good job of developing who he is. So like the option to tie someone to, tie him up and put him on a train tracks is just like, that feels so...
It's funny. Like, it's definitely
It's funny. Yeah. But that just feels so wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it's just...
what I'm trying to say, the real issue isn't that you can do that. Like, if you want to do that, that's cool. It's your game. Do what you want. Like, have a little fun with it. Like, that's showing Rockstar knows how to have a little fun. It's the fact that they added a system that revolves around doing stupid shit like that. Right?
Right. Are you honorable or...
Yeah. Because it's just completely unnecessary, and it adds nothing to the story of the game, or the mechanics, or anything.
That's always been a common Rockstar thing, I feel. Like, so, like, I didn't like it, but it's not surprising to me they did that. It's a Rockstar thing.
Otherwise, I vehemently disagree with game mechanics in that game, because... been on record, I think Red Dead Redemption has a lot of great qualities. I, however, would argue it was not a great game last gen. I would even go as far as say it's an okay game, because I hate the way Rockstar's movement, like how they handle movement in their games. Like, their main characters always feel sluggish, like in an attempt to be weighty. I just don't care for it.
You just hate Tepe to run.
Tepe to run is the Ebola of video games.
So,
next to...
that's kind of fair?
Yeah,
I mean, it is. It definitely, I mean, maybe not Ebola.
Hey,
but
don't compare it to Ebola. Why are you downplaying that mechanic, yo? Sorry.
Maybe not Ebola, but like definitely genital herpes.
Okay, whatever. The syphilis of video games.
Syphilis,
yeah,
tuberculosis.
It goes further than that. I think that while the third-person shooting has great feedback, because the physics engine is amazing, first of all, I say that he does the Mass Effect thing where moving in cover and just shooting just feels really stiff and wooden in a way that I don't think adds to the shooting. Because it doesn't feel like you have like this big recoil or something, right? It just feels like he's clumsy to me when you're moving around as him. And the other thing I don't like is that it's auto combat. Even if you turn off the aim assist, first of all, like the very nature of the game is like these very vanilla third-person action that is offset by like stylish slow-mo or just how good the feedback is on the weapon animation, and that does nothing for me because it's either this like super shallow thing where the game's more or less playing itself, or it's just this thing that doesn't feel as good as like an actual cover-based shooter. And it's not an excuse the game, in my opinion, can fly by, because 90% of the missions in that game come down to you going and shooting things.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, that's just whatever. Like, I get... It's one of those games where I don't agree with the gameplay, but I get the love for that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, with Grand Theft Auto 4, I think you are fucking insane when people apologize for that game's shortcomings. Because, like,
you would never talk that way to Mooksy, though.
No, I tell him all the time, like, how do you love this piece of shit? It's like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 4 has some cool atmospheric things that it does.
Yeah, and like I said, if it wasn't a bad game, we would accept that it does those things. But because it's bad, none of its positive qualities exist. It's like Mafia 2. Does it have a great soundtrack? Fuck yeah, it has a great soundtrack. Does it exist? No, because the game sucks. Max integrity, William.
At least we're consistent.
Yeah, see?
I mean... I get it. Yeah. I like, as someone who kind of forgot, like, because my Xbox saves got deleted, so I lost everything, and then I started it again, and I realized I hated herding cows, which I still hate. And, you know...
So I still think that's boring. I still think that's boring, but I still love the fact how they handled the ending of that game. I still love the fact that the tail end of that game is you herding... Well, you know this by now, right? Like, I'm not spoiling it.
Yeah, no, I've played the end of it. I've seen the end of it. I just haven't gotten there.
I guess I have to timestamp this podcast. If you haven't played Red Dead Redemption in the last 5 years, we're about to spoil it. I'll timestamp this so you can skip forward. That was your warning. Take it now. Are you okay?
Go get a Coke.
Okay, now we're getting into spoiler. You herd the cattle and you're doing all this, like, family stuff, like, because John's, like, out of the life. Like, he's done being an outlaw. And it goes back to that great storytelling. It was, like, how pathetically simple his life was. Like, the get out of life free card, like, the dream scenario for him was this really boring, banal thing, only for it to be taken away at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it made him relatable, and it made that final, like, march to his death, like, impactful.
Right.
It's badass.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah, no, it was great.
And they had that great
I feel
music.
Like the game needs to come down after, like, the end of that last act before he gets killed, and it does that, and it works really well. And then, you know, you get to see, like, what he wanted. What did he want to do? Like, this is what he wanted, and this is the thing that you've been working for throughout the entire game, and then it's just like, oh, nope, you don't actually get that, sorry.
Yep.
And the guy tells him to his face. His buddy. He tells him, like, there's only one end to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The best part of the ending is definitely when you get to go to Deadeye, though.
Yeah.
That was definitely my favorite part of that.
Yeah.
When you try to shoot all 100 guys standing there and they instantly kill you was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ending is definitely my favorite part of that game, for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the best endings of the generation.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Definitely, I think Rockstar's strongest game from a storytelling standpoint, even though it loses the plot in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's easily Rockstar's best story.
Oscar-worthy storytelling.
That's ridiculous.
Remember that quote from an IGN review, GTA?
That's from GTA 4, though. Oh, my God. So ridiculous.
Yeah, but that quote is so funny, yeah.
I think GTA 5 was such, like, hilariously, it was such a great step forward for them on a gameplay front. Because, like, I actually do like the shooting in GTA 5. I think it's a good game. But the plot of that game is, like, you guys didn't even try. I think they were getting lazy with Grand Theft Auto. And Red Dead Redemption was just, like, a great breath of fresh air for the Housers because they got to do something that wasn't tied to the American dream sucks and capitalism and consumerism is shit. Which, like, we get it. You made, like, 5 games on this subject. You're no longer funny. You are no longer clever. You're just asswipes now. Like, it's a good
like that
thing.
guy who just keeps telling the same joke over and over, despite the fact that it is no longer humorous.
Yeah. Like, that's basically what they became. Like, Red Dead Redemption plays on the idea of the American dream on so many levels, but it did in a way that was, like, at least refreshing from Rockstar. Because it wasn't meant to be a parody anymore. It was meant to be, like, legitimately this thing this guy wanted, and it's like, he's not going to get it. That's a good plot.
Yep.
It's interesting. Yeah. Whether or not the game nails it all the way through is a matter of debate, because I think, you know, when we have to qualify that they lose the plot midway through, like in any other medium, they would have been ripped a new one.
Yeah.
You think they make a new Red Dead this gen? Like, that's gotta be their next game, right?
The studio's gone, so it won't be the same even if they do.
Yeah, but, like, I mean...
So I probably will.
I wonder how many of those people got absorbed into Rockstar North, though.
Yeah.
We have no idea, I don't think.
Because, like,
sounds like a lot of them didn't.
But, like, you gotta think about it. The script is penned by Dan Houser?
Yes.
Okay, so, like, he's obviously still there. He's still basically working with the creative guy. Rockstar makes buckets of cash, right? So I assume they can definitely, like, if they feel like they need to retool and recruit some, fresh young talent, they can definitely find it. Much less hire, like, actually, like, seasoned programmers and writers and all that stuff, right?
Right.
And then in the grand scheme of things, like, Red Dead Redemption wasn't... I mean, it was Grand Theft Auto Horse.
Yeah.
It was a Grand Theft Auto game on some level. It was just in the West, and, like, the amount of games that are Western, based on a Western setting that were good were Call of Juarez. And
Gun.
Call of Juarez.
And Gun, yeah.
And Call of Juarez, and Call of Juarez, and... Yeah, the whole lot of just Call of Juarez.
Wow, you don't like Gun.
Hey, it's all about that Sunset Riders, yo.
Sunset Riders is dope. Damn, yeah, Sunset Riders and Call of Juarez.
Bury me with my money.
Yeah.
There's also one other game on Super Nintendo that was a Western game. Can't remember the name. It was a shooter though.
Y'all hate Gun. I get how it is.
I love Gun, Matt.
Gun's aged terribly, but it was great when it came out.
Yeah.
I didn't care for Gun even back then. I was like, this game's kind of lame.
Well, you were wrong, and that's okay. Gagan, it happens.
Wild Guns, that was the game. That game was sick.
Wild Guns was cool on the SNES. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That was a fun
That
game.
game was hype.
That game was way better than Gun. Fuck Gun. Anyway, Fire Emblem Awakening is the other game William played.
Yes, and as someone who hasn't played that game in a while, just because I was kind of overwhelmed with all like the support mechanics and children and blah blah blah, and reading all about it and all like the things that you could do, I just kind of stopped. I got stuck on this one level, and then when we went to New York to look at apartments, I was spending a lot of time like either on the phone waiting for things to happen or on a plane. And we're in the car, and that was a perfect. And Kira was driving, and that was the perfect time to play Fire Emblem. And I love that game. I love that game so much. It's so good.
Waifu Emblem.
Yeah, I'm not over the moon about that part of it. I mean, I guess Fire Emblem's kind of always been that way with the support
not like this though.
But
Well,
like,
even Awakening showed some restraint. Like, people are overreacting to how far they went with Waifu Emblem.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
I think the stories are more like endearing than anything else.
It's
Yeah,
the
I
newer
don't know.
one. It's the newer one that's definitely looking like it's jumped a shark.
Yeah,
The newer one's definitely like kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I mean,
like-
we'll see. We'll see. You know,
I don't know. I know
want
a
that
friend of
game
mine
to be
definitely
good.
said he's going to romance the fat lady because why not?
Yeah. Fire
ain't
Emblem,
over.
good turn-based strategy gameplay.
Yeah, it's so good.
No, it is.
Just like all the little quality of life changes they make between those games,
Yeah.
between installments, is really impressive. And I really want a remake of, like, I guess it's Fire Emblem 7 with all the new stuff that we have in the new ones, because holy shit, I love Fire Emblem 7.
I still maintain Path of Radiance is the best one. I love that
I haven't
game.
played that one yet. I want to play it, but I
To
really
me,
like that one.
My biggest beef when I wrote about Fire Emblem Awakening came down to, it wasn't just like the mechanics they took out of Awakening. Like, that's lame on some level, but the largest issue I always had was Path of Radiance had all these mission variety ideas, like it just kept mixing it up, with a basic setup of turn-based strategy game, right? That's also why I love Valkyria Chronicles. And then Fire Emblem Awakening was a whole lot of the same mission. Basically the same style of mission. Like, there were some mix-ups, like, there's that one mission during, one of the side missions where the guy can recruit, like, there's an army nearby that's neutral, but if you let him stay alive too long, he can recruit that entire army.
Right.
And then the map's completely way out of hand and you're gonna get wrecked. Right? That's an awesome sequence. And then, like, whatever, it mixes with the environments a little. Like, sometimes you have to fight on a giant tree or a volcano area, but the general gist of it is go forward, wreck dudes, GG. Like, it is what it is. You know? Like, Path of Radiance has you playing defense. Path of Radiance has you wait, like, you just have to survive a set of turns. Path of Radiance has you taking care of this, like, one shield thing, and then you go take care of business. Like, that stuff just kept the game more interesting overall.
Yeah, no, one of the actual last missions that I did in Awakening had me playing defense, like defend the castle from the invasion. And having not really played that mission in a Fire Emblem game before, that was really cool. And I really enjoyed it because it was like, you know, we've all seen the go siege the castle, and then it was like, no, protect the castle from way more people. No, that's cool. So
yeah, it makes you actually play the game on a strategic level that you don't the rest of the game. Because, like, after a while, when you're just playing the traditional missions, the regular missions, because that game is an RPG on some level, it gets to a point where I just let my big powerhouses go forward and wreck. Like, Donald is basically a wrecking machine in that game who destroys everything in his path.
He's the guy that starts out as the recruit, right?
Yeah.
I need to level him up more.
Donald is, like this complete wuss wagon villager kid that you had to get a kill with, right? And he was super hard to get a kill with in that level. And then you gotta, like, level him up. But once you get him leveled up and paired up with someone, he is gone. He breaks that game wide open for you.
Yeah. Well, the recruit characters have always been like that.
Yeah.
Like, they start weak, and then, because they get, like, 20 more levels than everybody else, and they their stats go through the roof, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, Fire Emblem has never been, like, super balanced, and let's not get carried away. And its harder difficulties are complete and utter bullshit, but, yeah, it is what it is.
Half the fun is figuring out how to break the game. Like, in the first one, I had, Lynn set up with a sword that basically whenever someone came into contact with her, she would just instantly kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Because she has great stats, and the sword was just like, okay, critical chances like 60%.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
But Awakening's really good.
Yeah.
I hope the new one is not waifu embleming as hard as, like, we think it's going to waifu emblem. Because I really don't want to play Persona.
Yeah.
Sure looks like it's going to be pretty heavy into waifu.
Well, it's going to avoid Persona as long as humanly possible.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
you have no
enough.
idea. At this
Nothing
point,
wrong
like,
with avoiding that.
I'm just
Persona
doing it
4 is so great. I don't understand.
I'm just doing it to make
Annoy
Phil
Philip,
angry.
yeah.
I mean, like, that's a valid reason.
That is such a valid reason, yeah. Plus I'll Joso back here play because he just wants to hate on Persona 4.
It's true.
What? No.
Yeah.
Don't do this, yo.
I'm doing it right now. I'm saying
I don't hate Persona 4.
you just hate what it stands for.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll go with that. I'm the Resident Evil equivalent to that series. Persona 4 is my Resident Evil 4.
Persona 4 ruined Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
It ruined the greater potential. It jumped the shark.
Yep.
It met the mother.
It's all downhill after Nocturne.
Anyway, last but not least, and not to make this like the second or third podcast we talked about the game, but Matthew, your big game has been The Witcher 3.
Yep, that
you
is
were
correct.
Super hyped for that game coming into this year.
It met the hype, pretty much, so yeah.
So Chris
Good about that.
Chris wrote a thing for our website, which I took forever to post up, but whatever. And I told him he should also write a review, and his lazy ass basically said, just put out, it would basically be me putting in a picture of an erect penis and giving it a 10 out of 10 at the end of the And I'm like, well, I mean, in a lot of cases, it's probably a better review than half the stuff you get from gaming media, so I honestly wouldn't stop him, on some level. So,
I mean, the integrity there would be pretty real.
Yeah, the integrity would be pretty. I would just want to do it just to see what people, like, the comments would be from people who read it.
I still want to do this. I want to buy Madden this year, write the review on Madden, and then the next couple of years, never buy Madden again, but just copy and paste my review in protest.
What you need to do, Gagan,
in protest of what EA does every year.
Well, Gagan, the best way to do that kind of thing, I feel, is you take a review for some other game, like whether from another website or from our own website or something, and you just swap around the words with Madden and see how many people catch on. You put up the review for Infamous Second Son, just make it about Madden.
Yeah, but isn't that like a plagiarism issue? I want to do that. I want to take someone's. What's a game people really talk about in this shitty? Oh, Journey. I like Journey a lot, but the way people talk about that game is a little too far, right? So I want to take that game and replace it with Madden. That would actually be great. Oh man, I'm gonna do this. I might even use Kevin Van Ord's review because he said he cried. So it's gonna be really funny to read that in a fucking Madden review. In the context of Madden, I cried. Madden's like a song, whatever.
That would be so
Madden
good.
in NFL 15 is a game where you play as Batman.
You play as...
Batman was the quarterback of this game.
Put the team on his back.
Anyway, Witcher 3, dude.
My
lazy ass still hasn't... Yeah.
You should probably play it, Gagan, but I know you like to hate about the combat because you're a pleb, and that's fine.
Listen, if I hold out long... Listen, they fixed the game feel of the walking, so first of all, if I hold out long enough, they might fix the game feel for the combat, and then this whole Metal Gear Solid 5 narrative gets broken... come on, who are we playing? Metal Gear Solid 5 is the best. But, suddenly, I could be somewhat a part of Team Witcher.
See,
Right now, I don't want to be the asshole rating on like Chris and Phil's parade, right? That
I feel like you do, and that is a lie.
Yeah,
but
not really. It's not as fun.
No, I know.
With Chris games, it's fun with El Josa. Like, I don't even care if I dislike the thing or not. Like, I don't even like. I'm sort of liking True Detective season 2 this year, but every time El Josa says anything positive about that show, I'm like, this season sucks dick.
I saw the first episode and was like, this is boring, and I haven't watched it since, honestly.
Much, yeah.
But The Witcher 3 has like probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a video game ever, which is when you and a bunch of your buddies get drunk. And like everybody who's played that game will tell you that shit's memorable as fuck. It's so good. Like I can't even like describe it to do it justice. You have to see it. It's just fucking hilarious. Everything they do it's so great because they get wasted, and their solution is to go and like they're bored, so they decide they're gonna go and call some of Yennefer's sorcerer's friends using her like. Her, I don't know what the fuck it's called, her weird, like, communication device thing. But they said they're going to dress up as women so the women won't be put off. So they all put on Yennefer's clothes and go and call some guy in, like, his bathroom who, like, freaks out and yells for his guards. Well, they're so wasted they don't know what's going on. And, like, that definitely doesn't do it justice, but it is hilarious.
That sounds like a really, like, I don't think dumb is the word, like an endearing sequence to have in a game.
It's really good. Like, they really nail drunk logic.
Yeah. Like, it's just like a completely, like, filler piece of gameplay, but it's fun.
It's really funny.
It's not taking the game so fucking seriously to not have a little bit of fun, right? That's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in the game that's just kind of silly like that. Like, there's a bunch of trolls who, like, ate chili and can't stop farting as you kill them, and that's hilarious, too.
And there's a lot of quests, that, like, individual quests. Like, Chris likes to argue that there are quests in that game that are more, like, detailed and rich than, like, entire game plot lines. And,
maybe. Some of the side quests are crazy in-depth. Like, that's one of the most impressive parts.
Yeah, and, like a big one for a lot of people has been the Black Baron.
Oh yeah, he's part of the main quest, to be fair, but yes.
But like a lot of his like the payoff is in the side quest. And it's like a very in-depth side quest, and that's like awesome because it's.
Well, yeah, I guess the end of it is technically actually a side quest. That's true. But yeah, it's part of the main story too. But yeah, no, there's my favorite one is definitely the tower, which you do fairly early on. There's like this plague tower you can branch off to as part of the main quest. There's a ton of in-depth stuff there with the sorceress lady who girls known before and stuff, and it's just really cool because like it's all side quest stuff, but it all feels really in depth and detailed. There's an interesting plot there, and there's a lot of really cool stuff like that. There's also all the contracts you can do, which are all basically just boss fights. You got to go kill some big monster. You got to learn about it and prepare, and it's just a boss fight. There's like a ton of those, and that's really cool.
Are you ready for like the douchey nerd question? You ready for this? You might want to prepare yourself.
I don't even know what it's gonna be. I'm ready.
How do the RPG elements stack up in comparison to other RPGs?
So, like, I guess that depends what you mean by RPG, because, like...
Yeah, well, what I'm basically trying to get at is, I'm basically asking you, like, you know how people get, I was like, that game's not an RPG, or whatever? You know exactly what I mean by that.
Oh, yeah. It's an RPG.
Okay.
It's, like, there's, like, it's not like a super, I don't feel like it's a super heavy one.
Yeah.
Like, it's not anywhere near, like, those, classic old style, change everything as soon as you level up kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you get abilities.
It's not tabletop logic. Yeah.
No, God, no. But yeah, you get the biggest thing I say is you get new, abilities, like depending on what you level up. If you level up like a fast swordsmanship, you get a thing where you can like spend your like stamina and you'll just spin a circle like a whirlwind, hitting the shit out of things. And there's things like that, so you can unlock different moves like that, and you can give your signs new abilities. So it's a lot more than 2, I feel, because 2 didn't really have that with signs, where you could like give your sign a second ability. Like with Igni, you can either just do your classic light fire thing in front of you, or you can like shoot a flame of like a constant flame out of your hand for a while. So there's just different things like that, and then there's the usual like leveling up your armor and weapons. Though there's named sets that are overpowered that everybody just uses. You can get like Witcher school gear for different schools, and those are just the go-to because they're just the best. So you just always go for those. So it's not the best in that aspect, but it's kind of fun. You got to go find them anyways. But yeah, no, I'd say it's fairly RPG heavy for being like an action RPG thing. Plenty of leveling up and all that. Yep. I don't know what else to say now.
No, the game's sounds awesome. It sounds like the first game with good side quests since Majora's Mask.
Yeah, that's probably true. Majora's Mask side quests are pretty great, and these ones are really good. It's a lot more than the usual Skyrim thing of going into a cave and killing Draugr.
Yeah. What's funny though is, and it brings me back to the 2011 Giant Bombcast, right? And when they were doing the Saints Row the Third Skyrim discussion for Game of the Year, which, like, in the grand scheme of things, there were better games that year, and I love Saints Row the Third, but there were better games that year. Dark Souls happened. Anyway. And they were talking about all these fun missions you did in Saints Row the Third, and then Brad, being Brad, was talking all this trash about how Skyrim had tons of great quests that he couldn't name, right? But, like, when you think of some of the greatest games, like, that have good side quests, or, like, just quests people remember, and when people talk about Majora's Mask, they remember the two sisters. About how that one sister gives her younger sister milk, because that's, like, the alcohol of that world, really, right? Moo Moo milk or whatever. Yep. And she's basically trying to, like... Yeah, she basically wants her to, like, be drunk so she can't, like, really experience, like, the end of the world. And it's, like, a really, like, creepy and dark-ass thing for a fucking Nintendo game. In the same context, like, a lot of this Witcher 3 talk has been, like, when you're reading threads on it, it's just people talking about these individual quests, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, even with Oblivion, what's the big one for Oblivion? It's the Brotherhood...
It might be Brotherhood, I guess.
Is that the right word for it? The Brotherhood of whatever?
Talking about, like, the Dark Brotherhood, the assassination ones?
The Dark Brotherhood, yes, there you go. Yeah. Like, that's a big one that comes up, but when it comes to Skyrim, it's like, the world is cool, but it's like, I don't ever hear anything about a single quest line that people are really into with that game.
Mm-hmm.
I could kill dragons, bro.
Yeah.
But that gets old once you've killed like 100.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not like Witcher 3 is like, you get to kill griffins. Not that griffins aren't cool, but a lot of the talk about this game have been these like individual moments in the game where it showed like the studio gave enough of a fuck to actually put an effort into this and not say it wasn't long for the sake of being long. It was long with an intent, right?
It's just long because they shoved a lot of shit in it. Like, there's just a lot to do.
Yeah, like, gameplay issues aside, sometimes, like, there's at least narrative justification for a lot of the things you do in that game, right? And that's awesome. Yeah. And
they have the whole gray morality thing down really well.
It's a shame. It's a shame that the combat blows chunks, because, man...
I hate you, Gagan. Combat in that game is really not that bad at all. I don't even pretend it's the best.
It's not as bad as Witcher 1. I'll agree there.
If you tried to argue that Witcher 1's combat wasn't like literal garbage, I would be baffled.
Dude, Witcher 1 is so bad, but it's such an endearing game.
It really is. Because it was their first big try.
Yeah, because it's not even just that. It's the idea that the studio was basically dirt fucking poor and still tried to make that game. Like, any other studio just takes it back and, like, makes the game that they're... Which, whatever, I guess that's bad management in the grand scheme of things, that they didn't play to their strengths and more try to be something they weren't. At the same time, there's something really cool about a studio that punched so far above their own weight class.
Yep.
Because they were like a midget trying to take on Mike Tyson, is what they were basically trying to do.
Yep.
And, and it's funny to watch that journey end up at The Witcher 3, which is, like, legitimately, like, this big blockbuster AAA thing, and it's living up to all of its billing, except for the combat.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you Gagan.
Game of the Year 2015?
That's, like, I don't know, like, the only competition it's even going to have for me is going to be MGS 5, and I really don't think it's going to beat it. Yeah. Not that I don't think I'm going to love Metal Gear Solid 5, because I love Metal Gear Solid, but... But,
like, you've already said, like, this is one of your favorite games in a while. Yeah,
it did, like, everything I wanted to do, just about. Yeah. Like, I have very few problems with that game. Yeah, like, very
in the last, say, 5 years, from 2011 forward.
Where would I, like, put it?
Then the 2010 forward. Like, not where would you put it. I was like, how high does that game stack up? Like, are there games that you definitely dug more, or like is it really high up there?
Oh, it's definitely really high up there, but there's definitely games I've liked more in the last 5 years, but like it's still very high up there. But like The Last of Us is probably still my capstone of the last like 5 years or more. But yeah, no, The Witcher 3 might be second to that. I don't know. Red Dead Redemption's also kind of in that. I guess we go back to 2010. So
yeah, 2010, that's a fair game right there.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard to say. It's definitely up there, and I would be surprised. Like, this generation will be amazing if it's not one of my like top games at the end of this generation. I think.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be not an amazing gen for it to not make it either. If it even made it either, you know what I mean? Like for a lot of people, like Twilight Princess is still one of the best games of the previous generation, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because Twilight Princess is a good game.
No, that's true. I agree. Like, I'm just saying, I think it will wind up being one of mine. Like, unless there's a ton of games I really, really love for the rest of this generation.
What if the industry just suddenly started making new IPs, man?
That'd be nice. I mean, what if Ubisoft made another good Assassin's Creed game? That'd be insane,
right? Pirate Simulator 2016.
Pirate Simulator, man. Pirate Simulator did it. Like, I held out hope they'll make it actually like Assassin's Creed next time. I'm
hoping that Sea of Thieves is that, because, like, I got Assassin's Creed 4 from Games of Gold, and the whole time I'm going, I'm like, everyone was blinded by the boats. Because, yes, the pirating in this is sort of cool, except you're not actually doing any pirating half the time. You're still a bullshit assassin doing Assassin's Creed things, and I don't want to do any of it. I just want to be a pirate. Like, I want a crew, I want to be, like, full-on Blackbeard or some shit.
Yep.
I want to wreck stuff. I want to go to Tortuga, wenches, everything. Treasure,
like all that game
pillage.
Is that everybody really wants a pirate simulator.
Yeah.
Like a real pirate simulator.
Yeah,
everybody
Sea
wants
of
that.
Thieves.
Like improved.
Like, please, Rare better deliver on that. I want to make Al Josa walk the plank.
I want to believe,
you
Rare.
hating on me?
I want to believe.
When do you think we're going to see... How long do you think it's going to be before CD Projekt Red's ready to do that cyberpunk game?
I think they said it wasn't coming until like 2017 at the earliest.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess 2017 at the absolute earliest, probably 2018. Sounds like they've barely started on it, and they're taking a long time, I'm sure.
Do you think it's going to be as big as The Witcher 3 was, or do you think they, like, dial it back a bit as far as, like...
I feel like it's way too early to tell. Like, we don't really know anything about it except that it takes place in, like, 2077
I'm just saying, if you had
No.
a wish list, would you want them to, like, instantly... Like, would your scenario be, I just want, like, a game as big as The Witcher 3, but now cyberpunk?
I don't know. Like, I feel like the biggest thing for me is going to be competing with Deus Ex for what I like. So, like, I don't really know how that's going to go. Like, Human Revolution had, like, the weird hub thing where
another game with bad combat.
Bigger. So, like, the shooting mechanics in that game are fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with the shooting in that game. You're wrong, and that's fine.
There's anything wrong with the shooting in that game.
There's not. It's fine.
Oh! Since I bought the PS3, right? Because your avatar reminded me of this. I actually got near.
Oh, yeah? Good for you. You
Yeah.
actually going to play it?
Yeah, I'll play it, because I told Ben I would, because he played Papu-Yo.
Oh, wow, I see how it is.
And then I can't wait to have that conversation, and when everyone tells me I'm not allowed to hate the gameplay, and I'm like...
The gameplay's not very good.
I know.
That's not why you play that game.
He wouldn't let me just watch it on YouTube, though. That's what's annoying. Like, if the whole thing is the story, I was like, then just let me watch it on YouTube so I don't have to suffer the thing that you know I'm going to complain about when I'm playing it.
I mean, you do get to have the cool finishers when you kill bosses, I guess. Those are usually cool.
I don't know.
They're kind of cool little finisher things you get to do. But yeah.
I'm also finding a cheap price on Drakengard 3, so...
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. The fact that we live in a world where that game's getting a sequel is mind-blowing to me.
With Platinum Games. So, like, we're guaranteed our first good Nier game.
Right?
I mean, like, the gameplay should be a lot better, I would hope.
I mean, it can only go uphill. Even if it's the C team, like, even if it's the F team for Platinum, it'll be a better gameplay experience than Nier 1.
That is probably true.
Like, realistically,
I'd be surprised.
That game will be more of what that fan base wants, because, like, the creative director, he's on it, and he's always been given he's always been given other teams. Like, it's his ideas people love, not necessarily the gameplay people love, right? For the most part. I think people really gravitate towards this stuff because he's willing to come up with unique ideas and then, like, more importantly, interesting scripts. So, like, pairing him with the studio that's at least somewhat close to competent, you know, you should be fine. So, what a weird world. What a weird year. And Metroid got turned into a soccer game.
God, that game.
Maybe it'll be as good as
Rocket League? Oh man,
Yeah, there you go.
we didn't leave enough time to talk about Rocket League. I'm not even joking about this. Until Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out, it's my game of the year right now. I
actually am interested in that.
so in love with that game. That game is so much fun. And
Flavor of the month.
Flavor of the month, yet we're all playing it, and we're all going to be playing it.
Yeah, because it's free on PSN.
Doesn't matter. Right. We're still going to be playing it months after, so what's your point?
We'll see.
Your pick for Flavor of the Month is dumb.
No, it's that game. Perfectly fine.
You say that to every game, though.
You even said when Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out, you won't play that game anymore.
Yeah, that's because I spent an entire year guessing that game
No excuses. Flavor of the month. Get right.
Anyway, so they took soccer and, like, took out the boring things about soccer, like the people and the penalties and, like, just the very thing that makes it soccer and made it cars. It's like this 3v, 4v4, or 2v2 or 1v1 if people really want to play it that way. Where you're playing soccer by bumping into it with cars. And it's like the most fun fucking shit ever. It has like a fucking season mode, like any other sports game, which makes me a little worried that there's gonna be a Rocket League 2016, and then a Rocket League 2017, and then a Rocket League 2018, and if they do that, fuck them for ruining that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It would be so fucking... And it's so popular. It's done so well, even if it's free. Like, it's done great on PC as well.
Yep.
So, like, there's a great buzz around that game. And, like, it has a surprising layer of depth to it that I wasn't expecting. Which makes sense, because, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, it's based on a sport, no less. And then it just changed a very, like, fundamental thing about said sport. And funny enough, like, in a weird way, it does... Like, sports games have tried for years to make you feel like one piece of a greater team, right? Like, if you want to play Madden, you can play the receiver. You want to play FIFA as just a goalie, right? But I think Rocket League is able to do that in a more natural way. Because you make a lot of mistakes that you would make on a field if you were ever playing, like, backyard football or something, right? Like, whenever you played backyard football or something, you've run into your friends or people on your team. Like, you make mistakes like that. That type of shit never happens in Madden. Just because the game's made to never make those mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it would piss a player off. But in this, those mistakes can happen because you're just naturally driving around and not seeing blind spot because you only have a limited vision because you don't see 360 degrees around you, which almost like real life. And it's awesome because, like, then you have these weird, like, when you're playing that game in private matches with your friends, it's so fucking funny because when one of your teammates fucks up and helps the other team score a goal, the amount of shit you talk is awesome. Because we were playing a game night the other night. Anyway, fuck it. I'm not gonna waste our time on this. That game is awesome, and more people should fucking play it. And Al Joseph should fucking play it, even though it's like the first good soccer game. How are you not playing it?
Out of principle, yeah.
What do you mean out of principle? Like, Electronic Arts and Konami have done shitty...
Can I play as Messi in that? Nope. Therefore, I don't care.
You could be that game's Messi, though.
I could, in theory, but
yeah.
No, I'm good.
Like, Electronic Arts and Konami have for years made bad soccer games, and now they finally make a good one, and you don't want to play it.
But
nope,
cars.
I'm good, man.
Like, they finally done the quote-unquote beautiful game justice.
I mean, you're really comparing this to actual soccer. Please stop.
Yeah, I'm saying that Rocket League is a
this
better...
This isn't even worth, like, seriously addressing. Just
Rocket
stop.
League is a better soccer game than FIFA.
Okay, fair enough. Better than FIFA. Wow, big accomplishment.
And that's what I'm saying, though. But you bought those games.
I mean, I also bought Final Fantasy 13's demo, but then I'm not trying to repeat that again, am I?
I'm just saying that there's finally a studio that loves your sport as much as you do on some level and did it justice, albeit with cars.
Fair enough.
You should play it. And honestly, it's ridiculous that Mario Kart doesn't have a mode like this. Because as lame as they've made the battle mode over the years, it's almost like, how did Nintendo think of something like this for Mario Kart? Which, whatever. I don't know. Rocket League's great. And Splatoon's pretty good too, which has actually been really annoying. Because I talked a lot of shit about that game. Yeah, I'll do it, though.
You got into that early access, though, Gagan.
I know, it's fucking hate. Never have kids, is what I've learned from my nephew. Because they have no standards or integrity or principle.
Oh, kids judge thing based on
No,
whether
they just see
like
a commercial and they're just like, you can ambush people. I'm like, every shooter ever, you can ambush people. Like, this is not a new thing. It's just literally a marketing thing. Fucking, and they get that song stuck in your head. So awful. Anyway. Good year, good games. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
Rocket League is cool.
Yeah, about time. Yeah, I was about to say. I was saying in general, you guys didn't have to say it's a Rocket League.
Was that an echo or
great.
did someone else say that?
William
I
said
said
it.
it.
With
That kind of blew my mind
That
now.
was really great.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Whatever.
Rocket League is cool. We
Rocket
need
League's
more
cool.
games like The Witcher.
Yeah. Well, like, The Witcher actually feels like a AAA game that justifies being a AAA game. Like, it doesn't feel like someone didn't put in effort. You know? Plus, CD Projekt Red does a great job of treating their community correctly. A sort of lost art, all of a sudden.
It seems, yeah.
I mean, you just have to like not be total assholes all the time. But that's apparently hard.
What's annoying is like studios that used to be known for it have been really asshole. Like Bungie, for all the shit I give them. I fucking feel terrible for doing this, especially in podcasts that open, but they're not gonna shit on them. I guess I'll skip them. Valve. You know, I don't think they're supremely douchey to their community, but they're just weirder lately. Like, it seems like they're more willing to nickel and dime. Even though they keep finding fair ways to nickel and dime people, but there is, like, this assholeness that, like, they used to be a little bit better, in my opinion. I don't know. Epic Games is finally turning around to their community for once, thank God. After their bullshit with the Gears games. I don't know. Anyway, that'll do it for episode 57. Please subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube, where I put this up. Hopefully, for once, I actually went through the trouble of editing this enough that I did timestamps. Otherwise, Aljosa sucks. Rocket League is great.
This is true.
Rocket League is the first true great soccer video game. Period. Go play Witcher 3, apparently, if you haven't played it, because apparently it's legit. That's about it. Metal Gear Solid's so great.
Don't forget Batman, best game ever.
Batman, Arkham Knight Rider.
Arkham Knight's so great they have to wait to release it on PC because PC couldn't handle the greatness.
Yeah, it's just greatness awaits.
True.
Anyway, close us out, William. I did our pitches.
Yeah.
We're out.
Peace.